be singing some Vaishnava bhajans before the Srimad-Bhagavatam Class. We can sing this very nice song from the Vaishnava songbook. It's one of Srila Prabhupada's favorite songs, Hare Krishna. It is called Sri Sad Goswami Ashtakam. The Sad Goswami, Sad means six, Shad, So Sad Goswami, so it talks about the six Goswamis of Vrindavan. And it's a very beautiful song, and it's a song dear to Srila Prabhupada. So the six Goswamis are Sanatana Goswami, Rupa Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Jiva Goswami, and Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami. So we'll sing this nice song, and we'll read the translations afterwards. Hare Krishna.
Amen.
translation of this nice bhajan. I offer respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis, namely Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatana Goswami, Sri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, and Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami, who are always engaged in chanting the holy names of Krishna and dancing. They are just like the oceans of love of God, and they are popular with both the gentle and ruffians because they are not envious of anyone. Whatever they do, they are pleasing to everyone, and they are fully blessed by Lord Chaitanya. Thus, when they are engaged in missionary activities meant to deliver all the conditioned souls in the material universe. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis, who are very expert in scrutinizingly studying all the revealed scriptures with the aim of establishing eternal religious principles for the benefit of all human beings. Thus they are honored all over the three worlds, and they are worth taking shelter of because they are absorbed in the mood of the gopis and are engaged in the transcendental loving service of Sri Sri Radha and Krishna. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis, who are very much enriched in understanding Lord Chaitanya and who are thus expert in narrating his transcendental qualities. They can purify all conditioned souls from the reactions of their sinful activities by pouring upon them transcendental songs about Govinda. As such, they are very expert in increasing the limits of the ocean of transcendental bliss, and they are saviors of the living entities from the devouring mouth of impersonal liberation. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis, who kicked off all association of aristocracy as insignificant. In order to deliver the poor conditioned souls, they accepted loincloths, treating themselves as mendicants, but they were always immersed in the ecstatic ocean of the gopis' love for Krishna, and they bathed always and repeatedly in the waves of that ocean. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis, who are always engaged in intensely worshipping Sri Sri Radha and Krishna in the transcendental land of Vrindavan, who is filled with peacocks and flocks of cooing swans, cuckoos, and cranes. In Vrindavan, there are also beautiful trees full of fruits and flowers, and having roots inlaid with all valuable jewels. With great delight, the Goswamis bestow upon the living entities the boon of the goal of life. 6. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis, who were engaged in chanting the holy names of the Lord and bowing down in a scheduled measurement. In this way, they utilized their valuable lives, and in executing these devotional activities, they conquered over eating and sleeping, and were always meek and humble, enchanted by remembering the transcendental qualities of Sri Sri Radha and Krishna. With great delight, I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis, who were sometimes on the bank of the Radhakund lake, sometimes on the shores of the Yamuna, and sometimes in Bamshipat. As they sang of Krishna's qualities at these places, they appeared just like madmen in the full ecstasy of love for him, exhibiting different transcendental symptoms in their bodies. And they were merged in the ecstasy of Krishna consciousness. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis, who chanted very loudly everywhere in Vrindavan, shouting in great distress, O Queen of Vrindavan, Radharani, O Lalita, O son of Nanda Maharaj, where are you all now? Are you just on the hill of Govardhan, or are you under the trees on the bank of the Yamuna? Where are you? These were their moods in executing Krishna consciousness. Srila Sanatana Goswami, Jiva Goswami, Gopal Bhatta Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, and Jiva Goswami ki jai. Srila Srinivas Acharya ki jai. Any thoughts on this song for all the assembled devotees? You have any thoughts?
I just heard the last four ones said that how they utilize their valuable life by taking shelter of the holy name, leading by examples. Six Goswamis, that's what they are known for. matter how their life started, but how they lived and how it went on. That is.
Yeah. They kicked off aristocracy. They kicked off all feeling of puja and pratishtha towards themselves. It's actually quite ecstatic hearing the songs about their lives. You know, it's actually the perfect bhajan. You'd think it'd be very hard to describe life of one person in one song, but Srinivas Acharya, he describes pretty much the entire lives of all these 6 people in one song. You know, so they're very ecstatic. It's such an ecstatic song. It goes from like what their qualities are to where they came from, and then all the way to what their consciousness and Krishna consciousness was. If you look at the last 2, and then where they're performing this, and then if you look at the first 2, it was talking about where they kind of did this, and what they did exactly. You know, establishing eternal religious principles, and then they were Dhira Dhira Janapriya. They were also dear to the ruffians, and then they were dear to the devotees also. So such a beautiful song. I always hear this song, but then I never look back and reflect on it. Now I'm just kind of reading it alone was kind of like I kind of understood a little bit, at least a drop. I could understand.
Is Sadhu Goswami?
Sadhu Goswami Astakam.
Prabhupada loved this bhajan.
Yeah, he loved this bhajan. There's a nice CD of him singing it. Oh, this one's actually quite nice. In verse 6, he's saying they were about the 6 Goswamis who were engaged in chanting the holy names of the Lord and bowing down in a scheduled measurement. In this way, they utilized their valuable lives, and in executing these devotional activities, they conquered overeating and sleeping, and were always meek and humble. So, having a regular scheduled measurement of these activities, both in chanting and also paying obeisances. You know, having that, even paying obeisances should be in regular schedule. You know, once in the morning, once in the evening, once in the midday. And then what's the phala? What's the phala shruti? You conquer over eating and sleeping. Now, who wouldn't want to do that? You know, we all either eat too much or too little, or we sleep too much or too little. You know, so they conquer over it. You know, they don't even require it for living. So, okay. If there's nothing else, we will move on to the Srimad-Bhagavatam Class, which propounds the highest religious truth and kicks out all varieties of mundane religion. I mean, I can put it close enough. And it kicks off all varieties of mundane religion, and it's described by the sages. It's as if a fruit. It's like a very sweet fruit with no seed in the middle and no skin on top. So we will hear from Alek Prabhu, a dear devotee of Krishna, and we will hear from him, and he will propound the Bhagavatam. So yeah, you just turn it on. Yeah. It's just very low. You have to keep it close to your mouth.
I think all the devotees today will be able to hear me in the temple. We have a house full today.
House full. Actually, Krishna's here, so he's...
Well, house full in the sense, you know, there could be hundreds of people, but if nobody's listening, then what's the use? But if there is 1 or 2 devotees...
I'm here. I'm excited.
Hare Krishna.
And then people in YouTube will participate.
So today is an auspicious day as well, Ekadashi. And our Shravanam Saturday has been scheduled on such an auspicious day. So let's start with Jaya Radha Madhav and Or should we just start with let's go.
Tradition.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Gopi Jana Vallabha
Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskritya
Narayan
Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jaya Udiraye Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtaki. So, thank you, Hari Prabhu, for kindly allowing me to serve Srimad-Bhagavatam today on Ekadashi, and the most amazing, the last set of Queen Kunti's prayers from Srimad-Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 8, prayers by Queen Kunti. Text 37 to text 43 are the last set of prayers, and then text 44 where Sukdev Goswami will Sutta Goswami will Sutta Goswami will tell Parikshit Maharaj that how the prayers of Queen Kundi were accepted by Krishna. So I was wondering, when I had the opportunity last time to serve, it was just the beginning of the starting of Queen Kundi's prayers, and I was a little bummed. But it is very important, the thing is that whenever we are serving Srimad-Bhagavatam, especially those set of verses, they stick to you so close, right? And you do a lot of hearing on that subject matter. Of course, you should do hearing on everything in Srimad-Bhagavatam, but specifically those verses that you prepare are, they just are very close to you. So I was really happy. I felt really fortunate to be able to serve this last set of prayers by Queen Kundi. Hare Krishna chant. So these are very important verses, and I'm literally nowhere close to justify, and especially in whatever time we have to talk in depth, in details, and also to cover all the aspects of these verses. So please forgive me if I don't say anything which you might have read and you were expecting me to say. But whatever I say, I have literally just taken everything out of Prabhupada's purports here and Prabhupada's book, Prayers by Queen Kundi. So none of it is just, I'm just gonna say whatever Prabhupada said. But some of the things that we all know that these prayers are for. Queen Kunti, she is known, and specifically from these prayers, that how she surrendered to Krishna despite of all the sufferings throughout her entire life. And the sufferings that she had gone through, we will go through that a little bit. But before we do that, just wanted to give the context and the scenario. So Sukadeva Goswami is glorifying, by these verses, Queen Kunti to Parikshit Maharaj. And Parikshit Maharaj, who is the first listener, who is, we tell them, who is the best listener, and best listener is Parikshit Maharaj, because he heard Srimad-Bhagavatam from Sukadeva Goswami. And Parikshit Maharaj himself has a very, he had everything. He's such a powerful king, handsome, and everything was going right for him, for his life. But he had his own struggles, starting from before even he was born. In the womb itself, he had his struggles. So now, throughout this is just to set the mood for the last of these verses by Queen Kunti. So this is just to set the mood that how Parikshit's struggles were first. Let's hear that his father was killed before he was born. Now that is even true. In current situation, if something like that happens, everyone knows how bad it is for the child, to grow up without a father. And King Parikshit had that experience. So father was killed, and not just killed, just natural death, no, but in a very, very horrific way in the battlefield, Abhimanyu. And he was attacked in the womb. Before he was born, he was already attacked. Like the material world, for him, it started before even he was born. Then, last successor of Pandavas, so much responsibility. Pandavas, who are all pure devotees, and this is their last successor. So it is for him to carry forward the legacy. And as we all know, that so the birth was pretty horrific. And the death, we all know what happened. He was cursed by the Brahmana that within 7 days he will die. He was so powerful, he could have cursed the Brahmana back, and his curse could have been withdrawn. But no, he took the shelter. Why? Because he saw the hand of Krishna behind that. So it's a big lesson, from all of these, that sometimes we will also have so much of power, so much of knowledge. At some stage we might reach to that level where we know the whole science of Krishna consciousness. But with that, how do we move forward? Whether we take that knowledge and humble ourselves, see Krishna's hand in everything, or Now we say, no, we know everything. Now all of this is happening, okay, criticizing and that's, I'm sure, we all would agree to that. If lots and lots of, knowledge has been gained, sometimes it becomes difficult to, accept certain things just because we know what is happening, what is my goal, and what we have learned, that. So sometimes even if someone, and we all know that how Prabhupada, in one of his pastimes when he was furious, in one of the DT installation in London, and one of the very young, like just a visitor or very young devotee, he said, "Oh, you should chant Hare Krishna," and he immediately heard and he put his hand in the bead bag. So despite of how big, what his position, temple president or whatever, XYZ, but at the end of the day, Parikshit Maharaj is showing from his example that no, he understood that's the hand of Krishna and he accepted. So yes, that's how it began for King Parikshit, and now here we are. Parikshit is listening to Srimad-Bhagavatam, and there comes the part of prayers by Queen Kundi. Who is Queen Kundi for Parikshit Maharaj? Great grandmother, right? Pandu and Queen Kunti, they had 5 Pandavas, then Abhimanyu, and then was Parikshit Maharaj. So it's a how amazing that is, to hear about our dynasty, our the ancestors who have literally been so close to Krishna, to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And even Parikshit Maharaj, he saw Krishna when he was in the womb. How many of us have seen Krishna? Maybe we did, but we don't remember. I don't remember at least. But I know that I didn't see Krishna. And Parikshit Maharaj saw Krishna in the womb, but also he saw throughout, in the form of Bhagavatam, fully surrendered. And he is now hearing from Sukadeva Goswami about his own great grandmother, the glories. It could be a proud moment, like, okay, my great grandmother is being glorified, but that is not really the case. He was. So yeah, just about some of the things. Why was Queen Kunti's prayers were included here? The reason is simple. It's despite of all the sufferings, despite of all the challenges that she had to go through, she never gave up on Krishna. Never ever, not even for a moment. And for Queen Kunti, I was trying to find out, that how Draupadi had, we have in the scriptures that, how there is a past life and, how she came in this situation. For lots of devotees, there is, lots of history. But I could not find. I asked a few devotees, if there is any history, why Queen Kunti? Like, is there anything special that she was put in this situation? She was a queen, already. She was she was born in a really nice family, and from her childhood, she was in a really good family, and even though she was adopted by Kunti Bhoja, the very close friend of Queen Kunti's father Surasena. That's where she got. So before her name was Queen Kunti's name Pritha.
Ritu, the son.
Yeah. And then after getting adopted by Kunti Bhoja, she got the name Kunti. And there she was serving left and right to all the sages who would visit. And then when Durvasa Muni came, he was so pleased with her services, so he gave the boon, and she can invoke any demigod at any time. That was the boon given to her. So after she was married to King Pandu, now immediately, right after that, like coming from such a prestige family and everything, all the comforts were there for her, and then here she is, after marriage it is expected that the husband will take really good care of the wife, and the grihastha life will blossom, and there will be kids and happy. story throughout their life. Kids are pure devotees, and then ultimately go back home, back to Godhead. But so many twists and turns for Queen Kundi. Starting right after marriage, then King Pandu was cursed that he cannot have any kids, and imagine that is really for wives, that's not really a great great news. And King Pandu was also depressed and not yeah, this is not really the best thing for them. But still, completely surrendered. That is our tradition, our Vedic tradition, that despite of all the challenges, all the problems, they still stuck together and followed each other's leads and helped each other in advancement. So, of course, we all know that how King Pandu asked Mother Kunti to go and ask demigods, for first she invoked Dharmaraj, and that's where Yudhishthir was born. Then she invoked Vayudev because King Pandu wanted a son with really lot of strength. So Vayudev was invoked by Queen Kunti, and then we got Bhima, and then was Indradev was invoked, and that's how we have Arjuna. And then other two sons were from Madri, right? Pandu and Madri. So with those situations, and then King Pandu, he was not there. Then he left his body at such a young age. He became a widow with 5 sons, nowhere to go. Why nowhere to go? She went to Kurukshetra. She went to, because for that short duration, Dhritarashtra had taken throne, and she went with all her sons. Just while I was reading all this, I was just trying to think that imagine that situation happening now. Of course it happens a lot nowadays, but at that time it was just horrific. Yeah, a mother, a queen, not just ordinary citizens, a queen. She's going with her 5 sons to take shelter, and then she was rejected. And then on top of it, when they grew up, Duryodhana had different plans for them. That no, I want not just a house, a room, but not even the place where a needle stick is the amount of space it takes. Even that I won't give. Now they are in the forest, exiled, and all of these sufferings are happening. But still, in this prayer, she is now glorifying Krishna. Yeah. So about so that is the mood that I was thinking that we can absorb in, and we can hear these last set of prayers. And of course, before that, a little bit of Pandavas. They were like amazing, pure devotees. Yeah, we all know Pandavas were pure devotees, and all their mistake was why did they have to suffer? Why wouldn't okay? They were, their only mistake was that they were too nice. They had so many good qualities. Yeah. So sometimes that happens when you are a sadhu. So it is said, this word sadhu. I was actually thinking about this, and then it's just a coincidence that I was hearing a lecture, and I heard from His Grace Adigadada Prabhu just a few days ago in the Temple of Bhakti Center YouTube page, that he was sharing that who is a sadhu. And sometimes we use that word as in a very friendly way, in a joking way, that oh, a sadhu has come. A devotee, a bhakta comes, and we say, oh, sadhu has come. But the definition he gave and the explanation he gave, it made me think that yes, some of the things I say or I have heard, we just use it off the shelf. It's not really that's not how it's supposed to be used. A sadhu is in Srimad-Bhagavatam, it is said, Lord Krishna is giving this definition that Titikshava Karunika Suhrida Sarva Dehinam Ajhata Satrava Sanat Santa Sadhava Sadhu Bhushana. The symptoms of a sadhu are that he is tolerant, he is merciful,
friendly to all living entities, no enemies. He is always peaceful. He abides by the scriptures, and all his characteristics are sublime. Now that's a sadhu. So if I have used that word, I have to again think and be careful next time how I use, because of course there is a difference between a sadhu and a sadhaka. Sadhakas are the ones who are practicing, who are chanting the holy name, who are trying to become sadhu. But and Pandavas were the sadhus. Or when we hear this, do we think of Kauravas? No, we don't. Not at all. So they were the opposite of sadhus.
A sadhu.
A sadhu. And so all of these qualities that is represented by a sadhu, and it's very important. It's very important to have all of these, and hopefully one day we can officially, the sadhu. It's a very important word. Sadhu, a devotee. And I was hearing this class by Untitled Prabhu, and he was giving the definition of a devotee from I think from another acharya, and he was saying that there are different stages of devotees. Who is a devotee? A devotee is the one who devotes. Yeah, a devotee is the one who devotes. What can he devote? So there are different stages. First stage is the one who devotes time is a devotee. But then the next stage is who devotes his ears. Then the third is who devotes his tongue and throat in glorifying the Lord. And fourth one is who devotes his mind in the service of Krishna, thinking of Krishna all the times. Fifth stage is who devotes his heart given to Krishna. And the sixth and the final stage is Karamana Manasa Vacha, means your activity, all the deeds, all the thoughts, and all the words are all dedicated, full surrender to Krishna. That's a devotee. A devotee is not the one who has some hidden agenda, behind any service or behind anything. Okay, I'm gonna stay in that in a holy place, but why? So that it can be posted on social media and nice taglines and hashtags and all that. But the mood is different. In the holy dham, the first thing is to see, absorb in Lord's presence, in all the senior devotees, in all the great acharyas, So that's the mood, and so that's how the devotees are. But again, these are all the very high standards. Of course, we all know that. So with all of this, we will go forward with these prayers. So we are going to read text 37 of Queen Kundi. Before this, Queen Kundi has already, shared a lot of her struggles. How she went through, so many difficulties in life. Her son was poisoned. Yeah, Bhima. The text 24 talks about, that's where she starts about how, despite of all the struggles, Krishna had always been there with her and her family. And poison, cake to her own son, and then the palace of wax, and the whole great fire, then vicious assembly. Then in the exile, they had to go through so many troubles. They would fight with cannibals and all kinds of dangers in the forest. Nowadays, the forests are, it's not so dangerous. People go for hikes. Yeah, that's the forest. But that time that was not the case. And all of this, imagine as the queen and the five, the most known Kshatriyas, 5 Pandavas, like that they had to go through all of these troubles together. Just unimaginable. And while she is saying these prayers, the tears are pouring out, it is said. That the tears, and not just a drop of tears, but tears, like the ocean of tears are coming. And last time I remember discussing a little bit about how it is so important to cry for Krishna, and here Queen Kunti is showing with her own example. And it's not that, with tears she lost her composure. No, she is going on and on. And also in Queen Kunti, the book Prayers by Queen Kunti, Prabhupada names a chapter, the most intelligent woman. The most, I would say, most intelligent, the strongest woman of the entire history in this material world. So that is her position. And from tears also I was hearing that why tears are so important, and how, how would even we come to that stage of just praying to Krishna in tearful mood. And I heard that one of the, I think, verses is that then only when we pray to Krishna for crying, that's when Krishna allows us to cry, and the tears will go away as soon as we reveal. They will go away. So crying in seculance, and crying without sharing that how much we cried, how much emotions. Krishna gives that mercy in kirtan, in kathas, in while reading all these amazing pastimes. Krishna will give, but they will be exhausted. Krishna will withdraw that mercy as soon as it is shown to others. And that is also true for our sadhana. As soon as the sadhana is revealed, it's a very, very personal thing. But as soon as the sadhana is revealed, it is Krishna will might not give the taste. I heard about it when I was asking so many devotees that why I'm not getting any taste anymore. I'm chanting and I'm reading, but the taste, it was there in the beginning. I asked Jayadeva Maharaj also. And yes, it is very important. So there are so many things. Offenses, so important. Not to commit any offenses in order to get that mercy of crying, of solid sadhana. So really, really important things. Of course, you all know. Anyway, I share. So let's go on text number 37. Hari Prabhu, do you want to recite?
Sure. Text 37. Padyanastvam ska krite hita prabho jihasasi sve suhrido nijivina yesham nachanyat bhavata padambhujat parayanam rajasuyojitam hasam.
Api yadyanastvam svakrehita prabho jihasi switshuto nu jivana yesham nachan yad bhavata padam bhujat parayanam rajasuyojitam hasam. Translation. O my Lord, you have executed all your duties. You are leaving us today, though we are completely dependent on your mercy. Have no one else to protect us, now when all kings are at enmity with us. So in this verse, Queen Kunti is continuing. So Krishna is now, after the war, going to Dwarka, and first Krishna was addressed by Mother Uttara, and now he is addressed by Queen Kunti. And here, few interesting things. First of all, in the first line of the text, here Queen Kunti is addressing Krishna as Prabhu. Prabhu means master, Lord, yeah. And she knows her relationship with Krishna is of nephew and aunt. Despite of knowing, but still she addresses him as Prabhu, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And not that, okay, I know God, sometimes I know so many people, so it becomes little informal. Knowing a sannyasi, a really great devotee, there is also a saying that familiarity brings contempt. So it happens very often, and sometimes that relationship is misused or contaminated. But here, Queen Kunti, for her, no. She's still addressing him as the Lord, knowing that okay, that's she's his aunt. But at the same time, after addressing that, she's really very sad that because Krishna is leaving them. And here in the purport, Prabhupada says that Pandavas are the most fortunate. With all good luck, they were entirely dependent on the mercy of the Lord. Krishna set everything up. Now what else is there? Remember we say that when bad time is there, we think of Krishna more, but when good time is there, sometimes it's not that easy to remember Krishna. But here, the war has been won. Now they are the rulers. They are gonna rule the kingdom. But still, Queen Kunti is really sad. The Pandavas are really sad that Krishna is leaving. That shows that even though good times, they don't last that long, but when the good time has come, still their Pandavas are showing that they are still taking shelter of the Lord. They are completely dependent on the mercy of the Lord. In this material world, to be dependent on the mercy of someone else is the utmost sign of misfortune. But in the case of our transcendental relationship, our transcendental relation with the Lord, it is most fortunate case when we can live completely dependent on Him. So despite of all everything is achieved. Now what else is there? But still they are fully dependent on Krishna. And Prabhupada is saying, in this material world, if we say that I am completely dependent on Hari, I am completely dependent on Naim, sometimes people say, oh wait, what? He cannot fend for himself. He is not capable enough. Or sometimes people themselves might think that, oh wait, I should not be so dependent on others. But in case of Lord, we must. It's not a suggestion or recommendation. It's a must thing. It's an order. So, and another thing here is, even though the danger is now gone, even though the calamities are not there anymore, but still, Pandavas and all the here the Pandava family, they are completely surrendered to Krishna, and that is the symptom of the Krishna conscious person. That despite of all the struggles, whatever it is, danger, no danger, or good situation, bad situation, everything is going well or nothing is going well, still Krishna is in the center. Krishna is in the center of everything. That is the sign of and for that, there is actually no question of good, good situation. There is no question of that, because that is a Krishna conscious person knows in this material world. I was asking Hare Prabhu, how is it going? A few days ago, I asked a couple of times, how can it go in this material world? Yeah, that is the sign of a Krishna conscious person.
No.
That we know, no matter how great the situation becomes, it is not gonna last that long. And that is the first step. Prabhupada says in one of his classes on this purport that is the first sign, that is the first step. By taking shelter, one should always feel safe. And without shelter, one should always feel we are in danger. There is literally there is no question. Okay, there is good things are going on, good time is happening, everything is going well. There is no question of that. But of course, if you are in the process of Krishna consciousness, we say chant and be happy. So chant and be happy is not just in spiritual world, even in the material world one can be happy by meeting pure devotees, by associating with great sadhus, and when we read Srimad-Bhagavatam, when we hear pastimes of the Lord, we can still be happy, but only when Krishna is in the center. And of course, Krishna also confirms that in Bhagavad Gita, Kaunteya prati jamihi and name bhaktya pranashyati. If you become a pure devotee of Krishna, there is no question of any danger. Krishna will protect. So that is from this verse. There is a long purport, and I'm hoping, I hope that everyone have read or will read the purpose. The purpose are long, but in the interest of time, we will go through the key points. So we will go on to the next verse now. Text 38. So in the text 37, Queen Kundi is praying, please don't leave us. Please don't leave us. What is going to happen to us? Without you, we will never be happy here. And now she's continuing. Why she thinks like that? So she's saying, as the name and fame of a particular body is finished with the disappearance of the living spirit, similarly, if you do not look upon us, all our fame and activities along with the Pandavas and Yadus will end at once. Solid, pretty solid. And let's read the purport real quick. This one is a very nice purport. Prabhupada is saying that Queen Kunti is quite aware that the existence of the Pandavas is due to Sri Krishna only. The Pandavas are undoubtedly well established in name and fame and are guided by the great King Yudhishthir, who is morality personified. And the Yadus are undoubtedly great allies. But without the guidance of the Lord, all of them are non-entities. As much as the senses of the body are useless without the guidance of consciousness. Now here is a very important line. No one should be proud of his prestige, power and fame without being guided by the favor of the Supreme Lord. The living beings are always dependent, and the ultimate dependable object is the Lord Himself. We may therefore invent by our own advancement of material knowledge all sorts of counteracting material resources, but without being guided by the Lord, all such inventions end in fiasco. However strong and stout the reactionary elements may be. So here is pretty clear. Prabhupada is saying Pandavas who are so known, they have name, fame, the whole kingdom to rule, everything is there. But Queen Kunti is saying, no, doesn't matter. As soon as Krishna lives, everything is destroyed. Everything is finished. And same thing, Pandavas are high, such high personalities, and from them till, from those times till now, nothing has changed. People have changed, but the principle is still the same. No matter how big the person becomes, doesn't matter how famous, anyone becomes, it's at the end, it's all gonna get finished. It's all gonna get finished. So, and another, a nice point that Prabhupada had said is, this is from the book Prayers by Queen Kunti. So long we are living, our name, our fame, our form, our activities are glorious. Really nice, very good. But as soon as the life is gone, nobody cares. It is pure lump of matter. That is all. Everything is finished as soon as we leave this body. And that is the whole point of this body. Living form is so important that only here we can now surrender to the Lord easily. And perfect situation in this material world, on this planet Earth. Not so many good things are there, and lots of bad things we are surrounded by such problematic situation. So it's perfect situation. And so Queen Kunti knows that despite, why she is saying, Krishna, please don't leave us? Because here, even though we are Pandavas, even though we have the best warriors, even though we have name, fame, kingdom, all the wealth to rule a kingdom, but still all of it will go away. So we don't want to have that. But now one can question, is that really what she really meant? That Krishna will go, so our name and fame will be lost? See here she's saying, as the name and as the body is gonna get finished. So if you don't look at even Pandavas and Yadu dynasty where Krishna himself appeared, the whole Yadu clan, Still, even that will go at once. But was that her intention? So for that actually Prabhupada explains that she is trying to teach us that she is not behind, she didn't care, because Pandavas were not anywhere from her, like we were discussing before, from day one, like from her very early life, she was never being Pandavas or in such close relatives of Yadu dynasty. They were not given the treatment from day one. So she never actually cared about it. Otherwise, she would have asked earlier. Krishna, we are Pandavas. Why are you doing this to us? Right? It is very. It's a good lesson, for everyone, that no matter, even if we are very lucky that we have found this process of Krishna consciousness, but that doesn't mean that we take that as that, okay, now all good, all liberation on our way. No, it can vanish anytime as soon as we one mistake, and it can all finish. So it doesn't matter which family you are from, or doesn't matter which what's the history, what's the background, or who is looking upon you. If Krishna is not there in the center, and if Krishna is not our goal, then it will not last that long, guaranteed. So this is Queen Kundi is trying to teach us from this verse, text 38. So let's move on to text 39. Text 39. O Gadadhara, Krishna, our kingdom is now being marked by the impressions of your feet, and therefore it appears beautiful. But when you leave, it will no longer be so. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. There are certain particular marks on the feet of the Lord which distinguish the Lord from others. The marks of a flag, thunderbolt, an instrument to drive an elephant, umbrella, lotus, disc, etc. All are there on the bottom of the Lord's feet. These marks are impressed upon the soft dust of the land where the Lord traverses. The Lord of Hastinapur was thus marked while Lord Sri Krishna was there with Pandavas. And the kingdom of the Pandavas thus flourished by such auspicious signs. Kunti Devi pointed out these distinguished features and was afraid of ill luck in the absence of the Lord. So here, now Queen Kunti is saying that, because you have walked all over this, in the streets and everywhere, and your footprints have been there on these, in this kingdom. And as soon as you will go, then what will happen? It will no longer be the case. No more footprints. And even now, so many times, wherever Krishna walked in Braja, people, that's why any place where Krishna walked, that place becomes the most auspicious. And Queen Kunti is recognizing that. So, and here, I was reading, Prabhupada is quoting a verse from Chanakya Pandit. So he had this nice verse that Sarvari Bhushanam Chandra Prithvi Bhushanam Raja Narinam Bhushanam Pati Vidya Sarva Bhushanam. He's saying that everything looks great, when it is related to something in very intimate relation. Yeah. Just like he gives example of Sharvari Bhushanam Chandra. The sky looks really nice only when there are stars, but it looks excellent when there is a moon. When there is a moon in the dark sky, it looks just beautiful. Prithvi Bhushanam Raja, a planet, a kingdom, or a city, a state, it only looks great if the king or the minister or president or whatever, if they are there in a right consciousness. Yeah. a great king, a Raja. Only then. And same thing is that Vidya Sarvasya Bhushana. No matter how weak or how ugly or how dull looking or anything, doesn't matter, as long as one is scholarly, one is a learned scholar, that will decide. That's the bhushan. The person's bhushan is his knowledge. So same way here, Queen Kunti is saying, yes, everything is there. The whole kingdom can be there, but it is only perfect because you walked on it and your footprints are on it. Otherwise, it's dull. It is not really great. And here it is saying everything is flourishing only, and that why it's all flourishing? Because you were there. That is the sign. That is the auspicious sign. And then she moves on, text 40. That since Krishna was there in the kingdom, now what will happen? All these cities, text 40. All these cities and villages are flourishing in all respects because the herbs and the grains are in abundance. The trees are full of fruits, the rivers are flowing, the hills are full of minerals, and the oceans full of wealth. And all this is due to your glancing over them. Krishna is not working on anything. Krishna is just glancing. Just by glancing, everything is perfect. Everything becomes perfect. And all we here in the purport, Prabhupada is very nicely explaining that how human prosperity, sometimes we try to make so many arrangements around us and is trying to get the life in a really better place, but it will not flourish. It might look that it's flourishing, but it's really not flourishing. We were, every Monday we have this vegetarian cooking workshop. So we do a lot of research and we share lots of information to people that how so much of advancement has happened, but at the end of the day, there is slaughtering going on. Yeah, so much of animal abuse, so much of people. Of course, living entity. We are the most intelligent beings, but that doesn't mean that we now trouble things that Krishna has provided or Krishna has given, and that is the leading sign, to all these diseases, misfortune, all the problems in the society. Why? Because we are abusing what Krishna has given. Here, Queen Kunti is glorifying that just by glancing, you have, all these grains and all these herbs are in abundance. And when it's in abundance and people have less, intelligence, there's lack of godliness or the society of godlessness. Yeah. Because of that, all of that is destroyed. Just not gonna flourish. That is the sign. And here, Prabhupada in the purport, he says, the more we go on increasing such troublesome industries to squeeze out the vital energy of the human being, the more there will be unrest and dissatisfaction of the people in general. Although a few only can live lavishly by exploitation. Such profound statement by Prabhupada. We know Krishna has provided everything, but just because we, majority of human population just didn't care for others, and only few are living lavishly by exploitation, and all others are suffering. So we'll go to text 41. Now this is, I found this as really one of my favorite verses, and I have marked this as really important verse. So text 41, O Lord of the universe, soul of the universe, O personality of the form of the universe, please therefore sever my ties of affection for my kinsmen, the Pandavas and Vrishnis. So here, sever is cutting the ties. Yeah. Prabhupada says in the purport, a pure devotee of the Lord is ashamed. A pure devotee of the Lord is ashamed to ask anything in self-interest from the Lord. Yeah. A devotee, they don't ask. They are only there to please the Lord. But here, Prabhupada is saying that but the householders are sometimes obliged to ask favors from the Lord. being bound by the ties of family affection. Srimati Kunti Devi was conscious of this fact and therefore she prayed to the Lord, Lord, cut off all the affectionate ties, from my own kinsmen. Kunti Devi is saying, who are kinsmen? All the Pandavas, all the Vishnus, everyone. Just cut off all the ties. So I am not obliged to ask anything. Here, Queen Kunti is showing the example of a pure devotee. How a pure devotee doesn't really, it doesn't mean that they are hard-hearted or anything. No, it's not that they want to run away from responsibilities. Of course, we know that. Because in all the dangers, in all the calamities, she never gave up. She never said that, Krishna, please you take care of them, just cut off my tie at that time. No. Now she is saying, now things are better. Now it's time, good time has come. So now it is time, Krishna, even it's okay, cut off all the ties and just let me serve you. Actually, there is a very nice video just 3 days ago posted by His Holiness, Bhakti Vikas Maharaj. And yesterday I was talking to Srila Prabhu about it and it reminded me of this one, that how Queen Kunti, throughout her life she had so many responsibilities. She did, great, and nobody can do that. Nobody will ever do that, and that's what Queen Kunti has done. But here in this verse, she's saying, please, you are everything. You are the Lord of Universe, Lord Jagannath. Yeah, so you can do anything. So first thing you do is cut all the ties. Don't make me now more obliged for this. So someone asked Bhakti Vikas Maharaj that okay Maharaj, I am at I am 60 plus. This is an unknown person, and I saw this video. Yeah, I have all this bad habits and addictions and other things which are anarthas which I am still not able to get rid of. Adult videos. Yeah. He is now at such age, and Maharaj. So first, it is just 10 minutes video. I recommend everyone to watch it. It's really nice on YouTube. So he's saying that first few things he's saying, okay, why don't you chant chant one round before you are feeling anything, and then even if you feel like, then okay, you watch, that's fine. But you should intensify. You should pray to the Lord that please give me the intelligence, give me the strength not to have that desire. Actually, I have the notes on that. And then the person asks that even though I am initiated, I am chanting my rounds, I am trying my best to follow the 4 regulatory principles. So is it possible to go back in this very lifetime? And Maharaj is saying, yes, it is still possible, despite of all the anarthas. But it's not that with anarthas you continue, then you will still go back. No, stop right there. He's saying that one has to, in order to go to, is it that cheap to go back to Godhead? No, it's not at all. So Maharaj is saying, so we have to prepare for that. We have to prepare. Same thing, in the military, in the Navy or SEAL, it's not just anyone can go. You have to train, they test, and all of this is test. So here, Maharaj is giving some wonderful advice, is that yes, we are all very weak in this material world, and especially against Maya Devi, nobody stands a chance, nobody. So it is very important to take this process seriously, have complete faith in the process. Why there is no faith? Because it is literally, end is so near. Maharaj is saying that everybody is gonna die. So he is like okay, giving all this advice. Maharaj is giving all the advice and saying, okay, make rules, make rules that okay, I will chant, okay, whenever I have any desires, I will chant, and then if the desires are still there, I'll continue, I'll pray, I'll ask for forgiveness. Maharaj is giving some really good recommendations. Try to visit dham, holy places. Try to associate with pure devotees. Reveal, to those who you are close to, your seniors, and visit temple as much as possible. Visit home programs as much as possible. Try to serve Srimad-Bhagavatam. Try to give classes. Try to hear classes. Attend classes. And Maharaj then ultimately says that actually before he gives the final verdict, he says that okay, don't submit. You can still ask for forgiveness, from your guru. Write letters and ask for forgiveness from your guru. But the demons, everybody have their own demons to fight with. Everybody. It's not that anyone is like free from that. But everybody is fighting, and that what is pleasing to Krishna. Whoever wins against those demons, that pleases Krishna the most. So Maharaj is saying, don't submit to any of this. Do not. Even though such thought comes, take shelter of, the whole process is given. There are so many ways you can take shelter. So try to do as much as possible, in Krishna consciousness, all this process. Try to take shelter of that. If something is like demoniac nature is overtaking, try to suppress, try to beat the demon. And then Maharaj, it's really funny. I was hearing, and then Maharaj went to another question. Then Maharaj again came back to this question. He's like, wait a minute, you are 60 plus? There is no question of all these other options. Forget it. Whatever I said, forget everything. You take this as the most urgent thing. Start chanting 64 rounds. Give up everything. Stop everything. Start chanting 64 rounds. Try to chant as much as possible. Because literally you have no time. And if you think of us, we might think that, oh yeah, I'm 20, 30, 15, whatever, but everybody knows. This last year have shown us, and nobody is gonna, it's not that, okay, now I'll live 100 years, 80 years, 90 years. No, last year has shown. Kids have suffered, kids have died, everyone have suffered. So life is so fragile. It can go away any time. So it's literally not, I was hearing from Kalak and Prabhu that this process of chanting is not an option. It's an order. It's an order. And here, Bhakti Vikas Maharaj is saying that if we know that life is so short, if we know we still have demons to fight, then you prepare your army. What's the army? Harinam. That's the only thing. So forget everything, all the previous recommendations, forget everything, take shelter of the holy name. So that's what I was thinking here, that here Queen Kunti, everything is now good. Queen Kunti is saying, just cut all the ties. I don't want any ties, it's not that she is running away from responsibility. We all know she did her very best when she had that time, and now she is ready to give up. And that is also, aspect of detachment. Queen Kunti is teaching us. So now, text 42. We have only 2 more texts to go, and we have 2 minutes. Text 42. O Lord of Madhu, as the Ganges forever flows to the sea without hindrance, let my attraction be constantly drawn unto you without being diverted to anyone else. Constantly. Savai pumsam parod dharmo yato bhakti radokshate ahituki apratihata. Yayatma suprasiddhati. So it has to be uninterrupted, constant. Interruptions are not good. Interruptions will always, there will always be interruptions. Now this is the most, this is also a challenge for me. There are always so many things going on, and my mind always tells me that, okay, there is only so much I can do. How much can I do? But then the standard is set here by Queen Kundi. No. Not like, okay, some days give me some break. The standard here is, let my attraction be there for you constantly and without any diversions. So in the purport, there is a very important line here. Our attention is usually diverted to the service of something which is non-godly or not in the program of the Lord. When the program is changed into the service of the Lord, that is to say, when the senses are purified in relationship with the service of the Lord, it is called pure unalloyed devotional service. So, of course, that's why there is this word coined by Srila Prabhupada, dovetailing our desires, always, and one point it will come when all our senses, we are ready all to engage all our senses in the service of the Lord. That stage will also come, and only then this unalloyed devotional service will blossom. So now, text 43, and this is the very last prayer by Queen Kundi in this wonderful set of prayers by Queen Kundi. Here, finally, she is saying, O Krishna, O friend of Arjuna, O chief amongst the descendants of Vishnu, you are the destroyer of these political parties which are disturbing elements on this earth. Your prowess never deteriorates. You are the proprietor of the transcendental abode, and you descend to relieve the distress of the cows, the brahmanas and the devotees. You possess all mystic powers, and you are the preceptor of the entire universe. You are the Almighty God, and I offer you my respectful obeisances. Kunti Maharani ki
Jai.
Jai. So here she is concluding, addressing Krishna as friend of Arjuna and the chief of the descendants of Vishnu, and all this miscreants, all the disturbing entities. She is referring him as the destroyer of those people. So again, there are lots of points in this can be shared, but I also want to share the last text for today, text 44. Srila Sutta Goswami said, the Lord, thus hearing the prayers of Kunti Devi, composed in choice words for his glorification, mildly smiled. That smile was as enchanting as his mystic power. So beautiful. She offered everything, first she started off with her struggles, her challenges in her life, then she glorified Krishna all along. Then at the end she said, okay, I am now ready. Just, cut all the ties and give me, the mercy so that I am attracted to you continuously. Just like the ocean, or just like the river flows in the ocean, without any interruptions. And Krishna accepted. How he accepted? Just by a smile. Radha Natadeva. Every time we can, whatever prayers we have to offer, we pray, close our eyes, pray, and then we see Krishna's face, Natadev's face, Radharani's face. They are always smiling. So that means they are always accepting our prayers. Sometimes people might ask that, what if our prayers are not heard? Krishna has so many prayers going to his way. But But that is the whole point of faith and prayers in a very humble mood, that no, Krishna will accept. And yes, Krishna will accept. That is also said, Prabhupada is saying that we must, in one of the places he said, we should also write to Krishna, love letters to Krishna. And he's saying that Krishna will accept. If anything done with sincerity and with purity, Krishna is just more than he is more pleased than what we imagine. So that's what I wanted to share. This glorious personality, Queen Kunti, and her beautiful prayers to Sri Krishna right before Sri Krishna leaves for Dwarika after the war. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Thank you, Alek Prabhu. We have some comments and questions. At least from me, questions. So, sitting in the class, based on your comments, I can only see Rohit Modi says Hare Krishna, Mayuri Patel says Hare Krishna, Ranchit K. Sood says Hare Krishna. Ranchit is the one that moved to India, right? I think that was the one that moved to India. Rachit, not Ranchit.
Oh, Rachit.
Rachit.
I think
Yeah. Aiden says Haribol.
Haribol.
Naveen Prabhu has a comment. He says Hare Krishna also. Naveen Krishna Prabhu says, this was in the middle of your class. He was saying, material world is complete and perfect in its purpose, since it was created by God to teach us, but it's miserable in action, since we use that for our own pleasure separately from God. So that's Om Purnamada Purnamega Vasishyate. But when we use that for, it's perfect in the sense that it's kind of like a perfectly made prison. I think that's the point he's trying to make. It's like, even though it's, oh, no, why is there this problem and that problem? It's, but it's actually Krishna designed it like that. And I mean, Prabhu, yeah, comment.
No, thank you, Prabhu, for that comment. It's a beautiful and actually, yeah, that is true. But while I was reading that, the purport, and Prabhupada says that how urgency will come. So of course it's anything that Krishna creates is perfect, and it's because of us. In that verse where everything is flourishing, Prabhupada says because of our propensity to misuse Krishna's perfect creation, we are getting in all these troubles. So it's of course our fault, but at the same time, it's not the place. Even though it's perfect, it's not perfect for us, is it? Right? It's like fish out of water.
Exactly. One of the purports said that, fish out of water. Yeah. Naveen Prabhu also says that's reason when someone becomes Krishna conscious or tuned, our consciousness as Krishna centered, it becomes Vaikuntha. So you can be in Vaikuntha even here, if you're completely Krishna conscious. So Prem Sindhu Prabhu, he says, Uttama Shloka, Prabhu, a disciple of Prabhupada, says, on a morning walk in Mayapur, Satsvarup Maharaj asked Prabhupada, how can we accelerate our advancement in Krishna consciousness? Prabhupada said, just think that I'm going to die in 1 minute. If you knew that you were going to die in 1 minute, your consciousness would be focused on Krishna. Prem Sindhu Prabhu comments, that kind of mindset will give us the intensity of focus that we need.
Wow. Jai. Thank you so much, Prem Sindhu Prabhu. That's fantastic. Yeah, it is. That's exactly what it is, right? And that's why I was also sharing that in last year we have learned, a lot of people have learned that it's not, life is not, we are not here to stay forever. It can go anytime. But I have to now, follow up with Prem Sindhu Prabhu that we know that theoretically that, yeah, okay, life, it can end 1 minute, but practically how can I realize that really next minute, because every minute I'm thinking, but I still have next minute coming up. So Prem Sindhu Prabhu, maybe I'll call you later. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, I was kind of like thinking also that a couple of days back we were talking about keeping the temple clean, right? And we were kind of emphasizing that we should leave the temple how we found it. When if we have a program, we should keep it as clean as is. And I was thinking, and the reason why I was thinking that, it was that Krishna is, for 1.5 years, Krishna kind of kicked us all out of his temple. We weren't allowed in here. We weren't allowed back in the temple because it was a risk. Yeah. So Krishna didn't allow us. But then once he allows us by his grace to come back to the temple, if we don't treat it well, Krishna will. It's kind of like being offensive to the holy name. I was hearing something very nice, and it's a disease that I have also, is that when we chant the holy name, we're being inattentive. Facebook chanting and this chanting. Mahatma Prabhu has so many, references to this. It's actually like when we invite Krishna to invite a nice person to our lunch or dinner, and then we just kind of neglect them by looking at our phone, and we kind of like don't talk to them. Then they'll stop coming over for dinner. They'll stop coming over. So that example is given is that when you're doing these offenses to the holy names, the devotees, the mercy will stop coming. The river will run dry.
Yeah.
You know, because you're not able to perceive on that consciousness of Krishna. Then you'll take it everything as an external level, and then you won't be able to taste Krishna consciousness. Then you'll run away and start a blog saying Krishna consciousness is fake. You know, that's basically what will happen. But you weren't properly applying the process.
Right.
You know, that's exactly the point. You know, so the reason why I'm bringing this up is that when we keep the temple clean, when we do everything how Krishna wants it, Krishna will be happy to have more and more. But then if we're neglectful, Naveen Krishna Prabhu always says conscious before Krishna conscious. You know, so you have to be conscious of what we're doing, and then you can. Let's talk about Krishna consciousness. So I really like that a lot. Ramesh Prabhu says, "Thank you, Prabhu, for the amazing clarity in going through these verses. Text 42 is one of the landmark verses which His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj quoted in Journey Home." Which one's 42 again?
Constantly drawn. Let my attraction constantly drawn unto you without being diverted to anyone else.
Like the Ganga, right?
Yes.
Yeah, very, very nice. Then
Thank you for sharing that, Ramesh Prabhu.
Premasindhu Prabhu says, in response to your comment, Vishwam Purnam Sukhayate. For one who takes shelter of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by Prabhupada Saraswati, Kaivalyam Narakatye verse. And then this is the verse. Kaivalyam Narakatye Tridhasapur Akasha Pushpat Yeta Durda Tendriya Kala Sarpa Patali Pratkota Damstrya Vate Vishwam Purna Sukhayate Vidhi Mahendradischa Kita Yatyad Karunaya Kataksha Vaibhavatam Tam Gauram Evastuma. That's just his comment.
What? No translation?
No translation. Go on,
Premasindhu Prabhu.
Don't leave us like that. Where's the translation? He just, I guess,
Maybe the comment section ran out.
No, I think he just kind of like, that's just it.
Oh, like
you understand.
yeah.
You just understand it, you know, that's it.
Hare Krishna.
I was just thinking, if maybe Premsada Prabhu is writing something and then he just needs time. I just have my comment, if possible. I really liked today's class. It's really sobering to hear Queen Kunti's prayers, and from a person who kind of aspires to practice these principles like yourself, it's quite it's very purifying to hear them. And you know, you were explaining about first of all the lecture by Bhakti Swami. I heard that, and I heard another class by Pavanitai Chandra Prabhu, and he was bringing up this point of lust, you know, and then he was bringing up this pastime of Prabhupada asked somebody, do you have lust? And then the devotee says, no, Prabhupada, I don't have any lust. And then Prabhupada asked, you know, Prabhupada told him, what's wrong with you? Everybody has lust. He said, even I have lust. You know, but I take my lust and I engage it in Krishna consciousness. Wow. You know, yeah. And then he said, and I am constantly making this prayer in front of Sri Krishna. My dear Lord Krishna, please keep me out of Maya. He said, my number one problem with my disciples, Prabhupada says, is that they do not fear Maya enough. So Buddha Bhavana Prabhu gives a very nice class, and he says, where do you know? How? I will tell you the formula right now. Where Maya will attack you. Maya will attack you first where you are the weakest in spiritual life. That is where she will attack first. It's kind of like an army. When you're fighting one army to one army, you will find the weakest point of the army. Is it the left flank, the right flank, the middle flank? Is it your japa? Is it your reading? Is it your bhajan? Is it your associating with devotees? Is it with your prasadam? Is it with your this? You know. So wherever you're weakest in spiritual life, that's where that Maya will attack, and that's where it all happens. You know. That's where you will fall down.
Right.
So that's kind of like when you think of it like that Well, we can think, I'm a full-on kirtaniya, I love kirtan, that's my main service, but if I don't read or if I don't chant my japa, then you fall down. You can think I'm a cook, I'm such a great cook, that's just my main service. If you don't do these other things also, because Krishna consciousness is a well-rounded movement, It's, you need to do, not that you need to be expert in everything, but you needed to do at least, you can't do all 64 items of bhakti, but you can focus on. Rupa Goswami says the 5 most important, that Nam Kirtan, Bhagavad Shravan, Mathura Vas, Srimurti Seva, and Sadhu Sangha. These 5 things, if you can focus on these things and not commit offenses to any of these 5, you can commit 5 offenses to all. If you notice, you can commit offenses to Bhagavatam, to the holy name, to the deity, to the sadhus, the devotees, and the holy place. You don't commit offenses to these, and then you engage them with your ekanta bhakti, vyavasayatmika buddhi eke ha kurunandana.
Single pointed.
Huh?
Single pointed.
Single pointed. If you have that devotion to these 5 processes on the way to Sri Krishna, without being deviated with other processes and other things, then you can be you'll be kind of safe. But then if we're lacking, it's time to get the guard up, rather than say, okay, it's down, let it come in. It's better if you let me go step by step and take small steps and try to build the wall, pull the wall back up. Rather than like we're so weak, we can't pull the wall up all at once. Right. We can say, like Bhagavatam, people get so nervous when they get the Bhagavatam at home. When am I going to finish it? I only have 5, 10, 15 years Bhagavatam sitting in your home and you haven't finished it. So it's kind of like, so you have to take it step by step. You can't say, I'm going to finish the Bhagavatam in 1 month. It's basically you're going to fail. So take 7 pages, 5 pages, 4 pages, 3 pages, 1 page. At least touch the book, yaar. Just touch the book, and then you'll be purified. So I like that point about lust. And it's a big struggle nowadays.
Extremely big, and it's also because of our way of living and approaching these days. Especially internet. Everybody, I don't think any of the advanced devotees, they are using internet in the service of the Lord, but still they recommend people to stay off of internet as much as possible.
I was listening to Amol Leela Prabhu's in that social media influencer,
right.
Books are the basis talk,
right.
And he's saying internet's like one devotee, Mahatma Prabhu, gave a really nice seminar in 2015 or 14 about sexual sobriety seminar. It was a men's only class in Columbus, and it's all recorded on, maybe I shouldn't say, it's all recorded on Mahatma Prabhu's SoundCloud page. Okay. And it's like really, Mahatma Prabhu gets into the real nitty gritty about, he quoted a statistic that the amount of adult content in the world, if you play it back to back, there's 65 years worth of content, And it's the #1 searched up thing in Google, in India, in America, And Jayadvaita Maharaj, I was talking, because I was, teenage boy, where I also want to be prepared, and and of course everybody has their problems. Right. I asked Jayadvaita Maharaj, what's your opinion on this? He said, even in my computer, I have the strongest porn blocker ever. Jayadvaita Maharaj, And then he said, Hari, I recommend you first thing on your phone, find one trusted friend, and then you put this this adult content blocker, and they'll choose the password. And then I said, Maharaj, you've been a sannyasi for so long, and you have never broken anything. I mean, Jayadvaita Maharaj is unheard of. I said, why do you even bother? You're so renounced. He said, these websites, they pay people from Harvard and Yale and all these top colleges to do advertising for just to get you to click on their website. They get the top minds. I'm not that strong, so I have these blockers so that I don't even get tempted, because Maya comes in like a needle and leaves like a plow. You know, she'll come in, oh, a little bit tiny, just a little bit of sense gratification, and then you're like, and then she leaves, takes everything, trashes the whole place. So, yeah, I think that topic needs to be discussed more openly in the Krishna conscious movement. But a lot of people, devotees, keep it secret. But you know, we're all trying to make progressive power.
Yeah, and it's really nice thing, you know, it's happening now, you know, a lot of people are addressing that.
Yeah.
And it was just a coincidence, and I Prabhu also was talking about that,
Yeah.
that video, and he also heard. Yeah, like that. I think the best thing is, you know, that's what two things only comes to my mind, or like what you said, you know, 5 things, just do that without any offenses.
Yeah.
And that's the most important thing, right? Offenses. So many subtle offenses and so many, you know, like, okay, we are like literally knowing, being aware, and that slowly and steadily will take us,
Yeah.
you know, back.
It's true. Srila Prabhu has followed up with his comments. I think this is Srila Prabhu says, for a devotee, the pleasure of merging into the existence of Brahman is considered hellish. Similarly, he considers promotion to heavenly planets just another kind of phantasmagoria. The yogis meditate for sense control, but for the devotees, the senses appear like serpents with broken teeth. The whole material world appears joyful for a devotee, and even great personalities like Brahma and Indra are considered no better than insects. Such is the position of a devotee who has received but a small glance of the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Unto this most magnanimous personality, I offer my respectful obeisances. I'm going to skip the Sanskrit for the next one.
Yeah.
I will use lust in the service of Krishna, anger against those who are inimical towards the devotees, and greed for associating with the sadhus and hearing Krishna Katha. I will become bewildered only when I cannot attain my worshipable Lord. Madness will manifest when I intensely glorify the divine qualities of Krishna. In this way, I will utilize all these. Lust ever fed, never satisfied. Duspurena analena cha, from chapter 3 of Bhagavad Gita.
Wow.
It's kind of like Prahlad Maharaj also says the same thing,
Yeah,
that
exactly.
if you itch it,
If you want to eat,
you want to itch more.
Yeah.
You know, we can have a whole talk about this, because you know it's maybe not a Sunday feast class type topic.
a mantra retreat of Kolkata.
Maybe it's something that devotees need to talk about.
Wow, thank you so much, Prem Singh Prabhu, for all these wonderful points. Very important, and so glad you brought them up. But before we leave, you know, this is one very nice quote that Lalita Mataji shared in one of the groups, and it's so nice. So I just shared this. It's by Srila Prabhupada Saraswati in Vrindavan Mahimamrita 2:16. Behaving like a mute man when it comes to speaking ill of others, even as a joke. Behaving like a completely deaf man when it comes to hearing others' faults. Behaving like a blind man when it comes to seeing the faults of others. Behaving like a dead stone when it comes to using my body for giving even slight trouble to others. When will I reside in the dearmost forest of Hari named Vrindavan in the above mentioned ways? So very beautiful, and you know, of course, you know, in the when it comes to using my body, you know, that I become dead stone can also be applied in this case. I don't know, whenever there are any desires which are against, which are not favorable to Krishna consciousness, we just ignore, we become dead stone. Then it's all good. So, any other points, Hari Prabhu, you want to add?
I think I'm good. Thank you for accepting this opportunity to speak on the Bhagavatam. It's very, I know it's not like, I just want to put this out there on the record, so it's on YouTube. No, it's okay. You know, it's like many people not be, okay. Many people may not come, you know, and then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati says that you can preach to the 4 walls, you know, so, and people are hearing on YouTube, which is quite nice.
Yeah.
So we recommend, if you're on YouTube, we'd love to see you here and have your in-person, face-to-face, cheek-to-cheek association. But Alek Prabhu, you give a good class with maturity, and I really appreciated it. I hope I think all the some of the Vaishnavas on the Zoom room, on the YouTube room, appreciated it as well. So thank you so much, Alek Prabhu.
Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity. It's a blessing. It's a blessing to be here in Columbus in this wonderful community. And I don't think this type of opportunity comes, that often. Speaking, serving Srimad-Bhagavatam in the temple. So,
Srila Prabhu gives a
Prabhu
caveat.
is suggesting.
Now we're having a discussion about this.
Yes, Srila Prabhu, we would love to discuss that with you, and hopefully we can have more interest in hearing and speaking on Srimad-Bhagavatam. And also huge thanks to Hari and Prem Sindhu Prabhu and Akshay Krishna Prabhu for giving these new Bhagavatam sets. I am loving this. It's like pocket Bhagavatam. So
Hare Krishna.
Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
all gloriously assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna. Hare Bo.